Kourtney Kardashian has been receiving a ton of backlash over her new collection with fast fashion giant Boohoo. It was revealed that alongside releasing a 46-piece collection, Kourtney would also be the brand's new sustainability ambassador. Kourtney and Boohoo are now being accused of greenwashing, and people aren't happy about it. It's a mess, so let's get into it. It's safe to say, when most people think of the Kardashians, being eco-friendly isn't the first thing that comes to mind. It's actually quite the opposite. That entire family is more of a symbol of consumerism than anything. From the thousands of failed business ventures, the Instagram ads, clothing lines, cosmetics lines, and now even Kendall with her tequila line, it really feels like that family has explored every single way to make money, even if the earth suffers from it. That's why people were so shocked when Boohoo announced that Kourtney Kardashian would be their new sustainability ambassador.
The vision for the collection was classic pieces that I wear. We have a black dress that can be worn in many different ways because a lot of the pieces detach.
These are made out of cotton connect, cotton, so we can trace the cotton. Really thought about how you can wear the clothes. So I think to see Kourtney actually wearing it and really interpreting it and doing it in her own way, that's just even better.
For those of you who don't know, Boohoo is one of the largest fast fashion brands in the world. In 2019, they were named one of the worst offenders when it came to sustainability, and it's only gotten worse. Boohoo thrives on throwaway culture. They have the ability to notice a new trend and have stock ready to go extremely quickly. I think they've said that they put out somewhere around like 500 new styles every single week. Not 500 every month, not 500 every year, every single week. Since they outsource production and pay their workers next to nothing, they're able to keep their prices competitive and use that profit to hire celebrities to endorse their brand, gaining them new customers, which allows them to put out more and more and more. They've grown so big that they've actually bought out other fast fashion brands like Pretty Little Thing and Topshop, and they also have factories all over the world in some countries like China, Turkey, India, and some even in the UK. And while it might seem good that they're at least partially in the UK, that factory has actually been reported to have horrible conditions. According to ethicalconsumer.com, in summer 2020, workers making garments for Boohoo in factories in England reported serious concerns of lack of hygiene measures for COVID-19, pay below minimum wage, poor working conditions, and operating during local lockdowns. Workers were also not paid sick leave, even if they had tested positive for COVID-19. So it's safe to say that Boohoo didn't have the best reputation, and people were starting to notice and actually care. More conversations have started around brands like Shein and the impact they have on the environment. We've started to see more and more people call out influencers for doing all these really excessive clothing hauls from fast fashion brands, and I think some of these brands are starting to take notice. In 2021, someone really high up from Boohoo did this whole interview talking about the brand's plans to become more sustainable, claiming that they aren't a throwaway fashion brand. That's where Kourtney Kardashian comes in. Boohoo announced that Kourtney would be their new sustainability ambassador, dropping a huge collection of clothing which are said to be better for the environment. Now, I don't know what Boohoo is thinking with this collab. Maybe they think that she's one of the more green, eco-friendly Kardashians, but that's actually not the case at all. Kourtney loves to present herself that way, talking about organic food and GMOs, but Kourtney is just as bad, if not maybe worse than the rest of her family. Only weeks before this collab was even announced, a report came out claiming that Kourtney went over her water usage by 101,000 gallons, despite being under really strict water regulations since January. She's also been called out recently over her private jet usage. After Kylie Jenner's private jet stats were revealed, people started digging into other celebrities who use their private jets as cars. Some people mentioned were Taylor Swift, Kylie, Drake, Kim Kardashian, and while Kourtney doesn't have her own private jet, she still uses Kim's all the time, so that's just as bad. When Boohoo announced this launch under the guise of sustainability, it's safe to say the reactions people had were pretty predictable. Oh my god, a Kardashian telling us how to be more sustainable? This is so relatable, said no one. We're gonna need more landfills. How does this make you sustainable? Please let us know the thought process behind this. Was she not just in the news for her sustainable water consumption? Want to be sustainable? Buy less unnecessary clothes. A sustainable fast fashion collection from a millionaire who flies private jets and a brand that doesn't pay their workers? Really? Which was another huge criticism of this line and hiring Kourtney. Obviously, hiring a Kardashian isn't cheap. Using their name and their brand and her time is gonna come with a major price tag. Probably not the best look on boohoo when they've been in the news for underpaying their workers for years now. One article reads, Boohoo supply chain workers in Leicester continue to be paid below minimum wage by factory bosses according to a new investigation. Leicester textile factory bosses are continuing to pay workers far less than minimum wage, despite audits and inspections of almost 300 factories in the wake of a major scandal, which revealed workers were being paid as little as £3.50 an hour. Now look, if they really wanted to make a change, they could have taken probably half the money that they paid Kourtney and hired someone who's actually a sustainability expert. If they really cared about the impact that their brand is having on the environment, they would have went to the experts instead of hiring Kourtney Kardashian and pretending to make all these positive changes. You don't become more sustainable by releasing another huge collection. Like, it's honestly just laughable, and people are seeing right through it. It's also been revealed that Kourtney's new collection isn't exactly as sustainable and green as boohoo is making it out to be. Apparently, there's some chemicals in the clothing that are really harmful for the environment and can't be broken down and recycled. BuzzFeed wrote, Kourtney's collection is out now. While it does include some recycled materials, it also uses polyurethane, which cannot be recycled and can release toxic chemicals in landfills. And as you guys can see, it says, what am I made of? My coating is made from polyurethane. My backing is made from 100% recycled polyester. My lining is made from 100% recycled polyester. Unfortunately, the polyurethane coating all over the jacket kind of defeats the purpose of recycled materials. Boohoo ended up releasing this video showing Kourtney talking to sustainability experts, and just watch.
I am also going to talk to other experts all over the world about like worker welfare and textile waste.
We have to take a really good, honest look at the fact that all materials to make have a negative environmental impact. It's estimated that every 1 second around the world, the equivalent of one dumper truck of textiles is either landfilled or incinerated.
Why is there so much textile waste?
The very simple thing about textile waste is that it's kind of joined at the hip with consumption. So the more consumption we get, the more waste that we get. And you can see this around the world when you look at the data.
What should we be doing with our clothes when we don't want them anymore?
One of the most important things is to turn to a friend or to a sibling or to somebody and offer it within your community, with your local community.
Like, once again, why not just cut out the middleman and go straight to these experts and hire them instead of putting more money into Kourtney's pockets to act like she's doing something and making some huge change? Kourtney did end up addressing the backlash in an Instagram post, writing, I went back and forth about doing this collection with Boohoo because the first thing I thought about when I hear the words fast fashion is that it's bad for our planet. Boohoo approached me to be a sustainability ambassador, and though I knew it would get backlash because the two just don't go hand in hand, I thought about the fact that fast fashion, or the fashion industry in general, isn't going anywhere. I thought about the attention this collaboration would bring to people who may otherwise have no idea about the impacts of fast fashion on our planet. I thought about how pushing Boohoo to make some initial changes and then holding them accountable to larger change would be impactful. It's definitely making some noise, which is exactly what I was hoping for. I certainly don't have all the answers, but for someone who has done a fast fashion line and collaboration in the past, which didn't get backlash because I was not calling attention to trying to make better changes, I feel proud about doing it with a mission and purpose. I invite any experts who have ideas, suggestions to reach out. I have already seen some of you and will absolutely be reaching out to talk and learn more. I want to help, and from my experience so far working with the team I work with at Boohoo, they do too. I will be elaborating on their changes, how we've made this line more sustainable, and what I've learned we as consumers can do to help, all to come. And once again, the comments were pretty predictable. But can we have the activism without the even more new clothes? Fast fashion can never be sustainable. So your excuse is fast fashion isn't going anywhere? That mindset is exactly the reason why it's not. Could you not have turned down the paycheck from one of the world's most exploitative and polluting brands and still learned? The only good thing that I've really seen come from Kourtney's line is the thrifted clothes. There are some items that were thrifted and fixed up and sold. Boohoo wrote, a behind-the-scenes look at how our incredible new partner, Glass Onion Vintage, hand-selected, repaired, and processed the vintage pieces for the Boohoo by Kourtney Kardashian collection. Every piece supplied has now been given a new life. But at the same time, people are like, so we're pretty much getting secondhand items for a brand new high price? Support your local vintage resellers or Depop shop, not this. Nah, I'll just go to a secondhand store. So yeah, I don't know what Boohoo or Kourtney was thinking when they agreed to this, but people aren't being fooled by this attempt at acting sustainable. Anyways guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. Do you think it's a step in the right direction, or do you think it's another greenwashing attempt? Let me know and I'll see you next time.